When you're feeding your body a ton of added sugar, well, guess what? The bad bacteria are going to be eating it that are in your gut. And they're competing then with the good bacteria that you want to have in your gut. And so it's this whole like ecosystem war happening inside your body. And sugar really is a big player in, how things end up shaking out.
Yeah, like I've gone on a, keto diet before and stopped sugar for a while. First time I did it, I got really, really sick for like 2-3 weeks. Ugh. I think I was like detoxing from a lifetime of it. And then subsequently when I've done it, it takes about 2 weeks. And then I really stop craving the sugar. The first 2 weeks are very difficult. If I do eat a sugary thing, again, it seems heightened. It's like too much sugar in it. But it takes that adaptation period I've seen. I don't know what you've observed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I talk about that in the book quite a bit because there is this period of transition where, your body's changing, your body's adapting, and your brain is too. And that's when a lot of times, people start to feel withdrawal symptoms where they might feel lethargic and tired, and they might have a headache, or they might be irritable. And it's often the case that people think, oh my gosh, my blood sugar must be dropping. That's why I feel this way. I don't feel right. But the reality is they're actually in sugar withdrawal. That's what happens. Like, it's just like nicotine withdrawal where, if you are a smoker and you decide to quit, guess what? It's going to hurt for a couple of days. So it is something that you kind of have to get through. But yeah, I think that 2 week is really like the sweet spot for most people where, then the cravings start to subside. They start to feel better. They don't feel lethargic. They don't feel, irritable, and they can really then see the benefits of it. And then for some people, it isn't 2 weeks. Some people it's shorter. I mean, it really varies depending on the individual. And I think their unique experience with what they've been eating, up to this point in their life.
So where are we headed? There's a lot more childhood obesity. There's a lot more adult obesity. I mean, these are not looking good. Do you see them as continuing to worsen unless we get some serious understanding on this quickly, or where everything's headed?
Yeah, I think it's got to change for sure. I think that we're getting to the tipping point now where, we don't want to have, I don't see why we would want to have half the population having diabetes. I mean, and the fact that it's dictated largely by the food in our food environment is really, to me, a problem. I mean, even lately we have this surge in, people taking GLP-1 drugs so that they don't crave the food, right? So that they don't want to eat, so they won't eat all this food. And it's just so curious to me because it's like, well, why is the food even there if they're not supposed to eat it? Like, if the food is the problem, why are we not going after that first before we, give people a drug to help them avoid that food that's bad for them? And it's, I think, something that hopefully we'll start to see changes, but it's going to take some time. I mean, if you look back at the history of tobacco, it's very similar in terms of, back in the 30s and 40s, there would be advertisements with doctors and dentists and, people promoting smoking cigarettes, saying, it's a great way to help you control your weight. And, oh, my doctor recommends Lucky Strikes. And, all of these ad campaigns that were kind of built around this idea that, oh, yeah, it's fine to smoke. Like, don't worry about it. It's good. And, it took, 50 years after that for us to get to the point where we had, some major changes come out because we learned, like, hey, guess what? Smoking actually isn't good for you. It's pretty bad for you, actually. And that's what led to the changes, with limitations on advertisement. That's what led to changes where people can't, promote these products to children. We can't smoke on airplanes, can't smoke basically in most states, like pretty much anywhere in public anymore. So I think we have a long way to go. And I'm not saying we have to ban sugar and you can't eat it on an airplane, but I do think we need to have more awareness around the dangers of it, more information for people to understand how much sugar is in the foods that they're eating, and just essentially more of a control over how much of it is being utilized. Because right now the food companies can put as much sugar as they want, as many different types of sugar as they want in any food product, and slap a label on it and sell it in the grocery store, and people buy it.